Hey guys, SeanB. Today is the end of 2022. So in this video, I want to do a recap of all the farming team I use for every single dungeon, from Giants to Dragons to Rift Raid to Rift Dungeon to everything else that I can think of in one single video. I will have timestamp for you guys down below, so if you're interested in any individual dungeon, you can click and check out that particular team. It is not supposed to be a free-to-play guide, but I think most of the unit I use will be free-to-play friendly. I'll give suggestion on all the things that you can use as well. So for the last time of 2022, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, leave a comment down below, and let's jump right into it. First is the Giants B12. You saw this before. This is my Lucian Double Crow Argon Lauren team. You can actually replace Argon with another Crow if you want a better run. But I don't want to farm another Crow, so I decided to use Argon instead. And Argon is a very good unit for other part of the game as well. So I think Argon is a pretty solid option. This is the Lauren I'm using, triple fight rune, very important. With the fight on Lauren and Argon and one of the Crow that has a fight rune set as well, this Lucian is the bare minimum Lucian that I need to have to one-shot wave in GB12. And also, this is the minimum speed that I need to have to move twice before the trash wave. I also have damage on water, and I also have some extra crit damage over here. So during the trash wave, if Lucian use any other skill than amputation magic, you might not finish the wave in one turn of all your unit. Oh, I can't believe it. We're missing defense break already. You might not finish the wave in one turn. So giving Lucian 120 speed with maximum speed tower. If you have less speed tower, you need more speed than Lucian. It will allow the team to be faster, because in the wave number 3, the crystal might damage your team more than you want to, and you might not make it to the boss with everyone alive, and that is not good. So the runtime can go anywhere from 18 seconds, as you can see right there, to somewhere near the, oh wait, that 18 seconds is a different team, from 19 seconds to about 30 seconds. So if you miss the defense break, which you might miss whether you want it or not, because it's just how it is. If you don't miss the defense break, it's awesome. If you amputation magic here as well, it's awesome. And the run will be about 19 to 20 seconds depending on animation, whether I land extra debuff to kill the boss faster, but it is somewhere around there. Pretty solid team. If you make the third Crow and not Argon, Crow can do more damage, but runing Argon is a little bit easier because you can have less crit rate on Argon. But having a third Crow would be much better for this team, because Crow has faster animation, Crow has more damage output than Argon. Crow also has more branding chance than Argon, but that is quite irrelevant if the last Crow is moving last, because it's going to kill the boss anyway. It doesn't need to have branding. So right here, we miss all the branding, so we're going to kill the boss a little bit slower. But on average, it is still a pretty solid team. You don't have to make the third Crow if you don't want to. It's totally fine. So that is my Giants B12. Here we have the Dragons B12. I don't think I need more guide or demonstration for this. You have a vert on damage build. It can be on any rune, doesn't have to be Rage Blade, Fatal Blade, whatever. Just attack, crit damage, and attack. If you have damage on fire, or more crit damage, or co-op attack damage in your artifact, that will be way better. If you don't, it's totally fine. Just the more damage you have on your vert, the better. Your Ikaru can be on triple defense. The more determination you have, the better. You can actually rune a crit damage Ikaru if you have a lot of determination rune, because the more determination, the less defense you need on your Ikaru. If you Google Ikaru Excel sheet or Ikaru cheat sheet, the sheet will show you how much defense you need depending on your defense tower level and how many determination set that you have. So if you mix determination and fight rune, you will have a very solid Ikaru team. So the more fight rune you have, the better actually. You don't have to run a crit damage Ikaru. You can run a triple fight Ikaru, and that's gonna be the best case scenario, because the fight rune will allow vert to do more damage as well. So I think the best will be like triple fight Ikaru. But if you don't have fight, you don't have determination, you only have guard and just broken set rune, that is totally okay as well. So just the more fight rune you have, the better. There are variations where you put in another unit right there, but it's just really end game. And I think this is more than enough for me, because more often than not, I don't really sit there and look at my run and press the replay button on time, like, oh my god, it's ending, gonna press the replay button again. I just do something else, come back when it's done. So I just know that every 10 or 7 minutes, I just have to come back to the game, press replay, and that's pretty much it. So right there, I didn't kill the boss fast enough, and the boss actually managed to attack me. Maybe I missed a defense break here and there. If your vert is too squishy, you die right there, not good. So the more damage you do, the better. But if you cannot do enough damage, then you will have to be a little bit tankier. If not, you're gonna die right at that moment. And if your Hikaru cannot finish the main boss, that might be a problem. There's also a variation where you put in a fire golem, this guy right here, and you need this guy to carry all the determination rune, okay? So that you will get the desired defense, because for early game player, you cannot get the desired defense that easily. You might want to try using this guy, but I don't think you have to nowadays, because the early game process has become so much easier. Farming rift rate is also much easier, but you can put this guy in, you put triple determination set on him, and you make him move first, because every turn he will turn into a statue, and he will not team up with your Hikaru and your Verd to mess up the turn order. But honestly, so far, all the early game player that I've talked to, they just kind of crushed it, and they don't really need that extra fire golem guy in there. They just go with determination rune, because you can farm rift rate so much easier nowadays. So this is my Dragons B12 team. This is probably your bread and butter. So if you start off with GB12, you will move on into this. But some people, they just go straight into Dragons. They build a Spectra, Vert, Fran, Lauren, and some water unit, and then they just farm Dragons straight up, because the best rune to build Hikaru with in the early game is either Determination rune or God rune, because you don't have defense tower. So the best way to have enough defense is to use more God rune. And where do you get God rune? Here. You don't get God rune in GB12. So you want to go straight into the Dragons dungeon. You might just want to go straight into the Dragon dungeon and just ignore GB12 altogether. So I still use this to farm GB12, because it is still one of the best team out there. And anything higher than this, more advanced than this, is just a little bit too advanced for me. Next, we have the Necro team. So I'm reusing the Hikaru. So I'm trying to use the least amount of unit possible. I'm trying to reuse things that I can reuse, so I don't have to build more unit. I think that's one of the best approach for building PvE team and Summoners War. And then we now have a Star, a very good unit for this dungeon. If you don't have this unit, you can actually just put in another rogue and put in any other thing that has multi-hit, and that's going to be just fine. And the rogue can be on any rune as well. But the best option, the option that I use, will be a Star. So she'll be on Fatal, Shield, Attack with Damage, Attack. The shield set is there. It's pretty good, because she will die to the reflect damage of the Dark Golem. But if you use a Shaman, if you have a Shaman on your team, the Shaman will heal the Star so easily. You don't even have to care about her dying at all. I know as a 3-star every unit is not exactly free to play, but you don't have to use Shaman and a Star. You can pretty much use any other multi-hit, and you can put in a Raok 2A, and it's gonna be okay. And everybody will probably build one Raok 2A at the end of the day. But if you have this exact setup, it is absolutely amazing. The runtime can go from anywhere from 35 seconds to like 40 something seconds. It is really fast. It is definitely not like one of those, I will have illusion to one-shot wave and then the rest will kill the boss kind of thing. It is a very safe team, okay? Super safe, and it does a bunch of damage. And I only have to build 2 units that I will also use in other content as well. So where do you use a Star? You can actually use a Star in your ToA, and it's pretty good, okay? So this is my ToA team, but so you can use this team in ToA. It's going to be super fast as well. If you want to be fancy, you can also put in the Water Homunculus on damage build, and you can replace all this with a simple Raok. So you can use a Star in this content, and she's pretty solid here for your monthly ToA session. And where do you run Shaman? Shaman can also be used in any boss in ToA Hell. A super good unit when you see a dark boss like this. Shaman can just 2-tap and the boss could die. I'm not even joking. Every hit Shaman can do with skill 2 is straight up 100,000 plus damage. And if Shaman move twice, the boss is gone. If it's a dark boss. So very solid in ToA Hell and very solid in a Necro. So that is my Necro team. I farm Necro once in a while when I feel I need more Destroy rune, but I don't really farm Necro too much. I focus too much on dragons, and I think that explains why my Destroy and Vampire and Wheel runes are pretty shit. My Rage rune are okay, but definitely not the best. I've seen 300 crit damage Rage rune nowadays, and I kind of want to have one of that set. But that is my Necro farming team. Now, we have Steel Fortress. So, these two are very, very annoying boss to farm because the best team are not easy to make, and sometimes it requires you to have some very, very good unit. So, what I want to do is I want to build the least amount of unit possible, okay? So, for this dungeon, you have to build one new unit that is going to be Ling Ling. She's free to play. You can craft her from the fusion building, and she is like a must-have for this boss because she's one of the best buff blocker in the game. I have her on a triple wheel build. She's on speed, crit damage, and HP. This is like the most advanced build for her that I want to try because if she gets stunned by the boss, it's going to be very inconvenient. So I have her on triple wheel. But do you need her to be on triple wheel? You don't have to, okay? You can build her on violent focus or whatever. It doesn't matter. I just want her to move once and buff block. I don't want her to violent proc and use the time she can violent proc and waste my time in this dungeon, okay? So she's on triple wheel. She won't be stunned by the boss that easily. And she's on HP because usually she will be the target of the boss and the tower attack. So she can be a bit tankier. I need her to survive. We have Ken, who's also the Shadow Blade in the shop you can buy. He's a free-to-play unit, very solid unit. And I use him for R5, and he has one of the best leader skill for this dungeon right here with a crit rate leader skill. Super easy to build this guy for this dungeon. So this is my R5 build that we're going to talk about later. But in general, attack with damage attack is the way. We have a Rogue that can be on anything. Okay? The runes of this Rogue doesn't matter as long as you have attack with damage attack. Any runes that's gonna work because of the crit rate leader skill. We have the Crow you can pick from on the dungeon. You can bring it over here. And for the last slot, this can be anything. Like really, this can be another fire damage dealer. This can be Argon. This can be another Rogue. This can be a Fran if you want some security in your run, and the run can be a bit longer. But a Fran on a random vial build is gonna work just fine. This can be a Brandia. If you have a Brandia, she's absolutely insane for this dungeon. If you want to put her in there, she just needs to have the build that's similar to this, but more damage. And maybe on a wheel set because she's probably going to move last and the boss might stun her. It's going to be annoying. It can be anything, okay, that you want. It doesn't really matter. As long as the last unit does damage, you're good to go. So let's just put a star in because we have a star built from Necro and we want to reuse unit. As I mentioned, the direction for my PvE team is I build the least amount of things possible. So we have this. Ling Ling will move first to buff block, and we have the Rogue to move next to attempt to clear wave really, really fast, and also team up for some juicy defense break. Actually, that a star slot, if you can use Brandy or anything that defense break, that'd be amazing because the team up will allow you to defense break a little bit more consistent. Right now, we have 2 defense breaker, actually 3 defense breaker, but they're not really amazing for defense break purpose. So anything that can defense break in a star slot will probably be the best. And yep. Oh, we missed the buff lock. Oh no. We are dead. Oh no. Oh, we might be fine. We might be fine. So I've tried using so many different things. I spent like a week just thinking about what I can use in this dungeon. All those units that ignore buff, that ignore the shield and the defense buff is not really that good because when the boss has buff on itself, it will have damage reduction effect, which is really, really annoying. So even if you ignore the shield and the defense buff, you're not doing a whole lot of damage. Ken is amazing because Ken can strip the defense buff while he do the big attack thing. And he can strip a skill too, and he can absorb attack bar so the crystal would move. Ken is just absolutely insane in this dungeon. He is so freaking good. So I tried using like Gene. I tried using some other stuff that ignore the shield and the defense buff if they can, but it's just not enough damage unless you want to invest some insane rune quality and trying to build a team that doesn't work all the time. It's just very annoying. So I just put some random thing in there. Usually I run Brandia. I can also run another Raoul for more consistent defense break. That is also a very, very good option. You can put in pretty much anything and it's gonna be okay. So any fancy thing, any fancy fire unit that you want to put in, you can put in and it's gonna do just fine. But if you want to put in another Raoul, it's gonna be pretty fun because if you put in another Raoul, you're gonna have more defense break. More defense break, more consistent runtime, and also Rogue is very good at cleaning the trash wave when you get some decent RNG. And you can actually put in another Crow as well because you build another Crow from GB12. You can put in another Crow in the Rogue slot and it's gonna be okay. So this is what I use for my artifact farming if I choose to farm artifact on that one random week. And I don't have to really build anything new because actually I have to build Ling Ling. And you only use Ling Ling here, pretty much. So that's the new thing that you have to build. But that is the thing with these dungeons. You have to build new things for these particular dungeon. And there's nothing much I can do about it. So water artifact with damage taken from wind. Ooh, this is actually not bad. So moving on to Punisher Crypt. So I reused the team from Dragon's B12 as you have seen before, just the Ikaru and the Vert, and that's pretty much it. I tried to build a specific team for this. It required me to build too many new things and the runtime was okay and it wasn't even 100% win rate because the runes that you need seems to be quite advanced, and I said fuck it, it's just not worth it. So I go back to Ikaru Vert and you target left tower, right tower, the boss. The runtime is about 55-second average. It's not super fast, it's not very fancy, but it just works, and that's all I really care. So once again, I don't check my phone very often, so having a 55 average runtime for this dungeon, I'm okay with that. Farming artifacts is actually one of the best thing you can do if you are stuck at progression and your runes just can't get better. Getting better artifact can really help your unit. Oh, 47 seconds, even better. So fast, not bad at all. So this is my Punisher Crypt team. Very minimalistic because I reuse the team from Dragons, and that is pretty much all you really need. So I realized that I have not changed a single thing about this R5 team since the last time I made a video about it. So let past SeanB tell you guys about the team because I think he did a better job back then anyway. So first, let's take a look at the dog team. We have the 3 Inugami free-to-play unit, Verthua, I think a free-to-play unit as well. This girl is the most important thing, and unfortunately, she's not a free-to-play unit, but I hope you have her. If you don't have her, what do? You put wheel runes on your entire unit. It increases the rune requirement for your team, but if you have her, you can take wheel runes off the entire team over here and focus more on building damage. So first we have the Ikaru. So I have a slow Ikaru here. You want your Ikaru to be slower than the boss, which is I think 170 speed in total, including a max speed tower. If you don't have a max speed tower, your Ikaru can be a bit faster. But I have max speed tower, so I want the Ikaru to be slower than 170 speed, because if your Ikaru is faster than your team move in front of the boss, then it'll be a little bit messy. And of course, no wheel rune, because when the boss do any form attack, this will die and cleanse whatever debuff and heal the entire team. So Ikaru is there for the team up, nothing crazy. It might be on damage, it might not be, doesn't matter. Ikaru is there only for the team up. The vert I'm using is the vert I use for my dragons, my necro, but you can build a separate vert to have less crit rate because this team has a lot of crit rate leader skills, so you can build another vert, less crit rate, more damage. I just can't be bothered. I don't have to, but you might want to. Your choice, okay? I have a crow, attack, crit damage, attack, pretty standard crow here, and with the crit leader skill, max crit rate, big damage. What you want to have is some sort of defense and HP, because when the boss go up and go down, do massive damage, boom, 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 and then your crow might die. Happened before. if you don't have any defense and HP, even though this unit will fully heal your entire team, you still have to survive that jump. So if you notice your dog die, then you might want to put some extra defense and HP. But you don't need a lot. This is my rogue. We have attack with damage attack as well. There's no particular reason for any of the rune on this unit. It's just, I need some stats. These runes have the stats. I put it on the rogue. You can have him on Blade, Rage, Fatal. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Okay? Attack with damage attack, big damage. Here for the team up and the defense break. If you have skill up for this and you have skill up for the Crow, even better. But I don't want to waste my time. And it worked just fine. So I don't really care. We have the Hua on attack with damage attack as well. I have her moving slower than the rest of the doggos because I want the doggos to move and apply the defense break first, and then she can go in and do the damage. So we need a defense break. If Lauren fails, the defense break can be troublesome. Some people like to use this unit, the ToA High Elemental Kali, on the left team. I don't know why, because the left team is all about team up. And when you team up this unit, it doesn't really do anything special, just some damage. But when you team up with Hua can do some serious work. She can push back attack bar, double hit, doing double damage. She's great for the team up action. But Kali, not very good. And Kali AI is absolutely dog shit. You don't know when she's gonna use the attack buff, defense break, or skill 1. She might use skill 1 all the time for that entire run. You don't know. But Hua, even if she used skill 1, it's gonna be fine because attack bar reduction, slow debuff, double hit damage might happen. Very crazy for the team up action that you have on the left team right here. So that's the left team. Now we go into the middle team, the standard Belegar R5 team. So we have a unit that will die to give Belegar stack that will only carry fight rune. Doesn't have to be anything special. We have a unit that will also die to give Belegar stack and will revive himself to die again when the boss jump go down, so Belegar can get even more stack. We have a reviver that will tank the damage in the front line, make sure that this unit can survive a lot of damage, and it will revive, boost attack bar of the entire team. Belegar go again, do big damage. And this is my Colleen. I need her to die all the time, even when the boss has attack break and glancing. So it can be a little bit tricky to get her swishy enough to die with the jump, but not swishy enough to die when the boss do the AoE breath attack. So she died because I need her to die. This guy will buff speed, which is only 1 stack. This guy will die, which is only 3 more. You need 1 more, and Colleen will be the one that die. So after the boss jump, we have Lauren to defense break once again, and Belegar to do some massive damage. Make sure that you have enough HP and defense on this guy as well. People like to focus on the damage output, but sometimes you forget that Belegar have to actually survive when the boss jump down. And lastly, the most important team is the right team. This one's a little bit different from one person to another. Some people use Odin. I tried it before, but then I like to keep my Odin separate from PvE because my Odin is built for PvP, which is on a violent build, very different from a raid build. So I skipped the Odin option. Some people use water twins, which is great, but I can never really get them to work. I don't know why. My water twins damage is shit. Yeah, that's the problem. So I've been using this team because they buff the debuff scaling damage unit, which make Ken a very, very good option. Also, I can build Ken whatever I want. Water Twin is used for guild content as well, and I want to build them faster, tankier, not just doing some big damage. So Ken is great because I don't use Ken in guild content, so I can build him however I want to best suit my R5 team. So in the front line, we have Ayunu, who will die, come back, do the branding, and that's about it. The branding allows your team to be very, very consistent with damage output, and that's all there is to him. Unfortunately, this unit is not free-to-play friendly. I can't believe there are 2 units in the front line that are not too free-to-play friendly. I'm sorry, guys. I know, you might summon everything in the world, but somehow your account is so cursed that you don't have a single of this unit. You might have 10 commune, 10 of the Avaris, but you don't have 1 single Ayunu. I understand that. So if you watch and you'll be like, Sean, how do I replace this guy? This guy is very unique, so there's nothing I can do about it. But this guy, though, is very cool. So when I was raiding in the very long past, you know, back when YDCB used to play Summoner's War and we used to laugh at his unit review testing, this guy was introduced to me by a random guild, I think from the Philippines. I was raiding publicly with other people randomly on the public chat. That's probably the only good thing about the public chat. Other than that, don't read the public chat, okay? So this guy is on defense, HP defense. He always use skill. I don't know why. He always use this skill, which boosts attack bar. Amazing. Why can't we have more unit with good AI like that? It's like nobody used this unit nowadays. Back then, people still use him for the attack bar boost and the crit rate boost, but nowadays, nobody use this shit anymore because you just don't. There's so many other options to boost attack bar and also provide some sort of buff, so nobody use him anymore. And I don't know how they coded this guy and other attack bar booster like Bernard, Draco. They just kind of, hey, let's make them stupid. But this guy though, he's gonna be smart. But the other unit, they're going to be stupid. I don't know why, but this guy always boosts. So I have Will Rune so that he doesn't get slow debuff, messed up the turn order, and tanky stat to make sure he survives. Just like this guy. Similar concept. Attack bar boost. This guy has perfect AI when somebody in your team die. So this unit will treat this skill as a revive skill. Very, very good. So we have our attack buffer. You kind of need that in every single team. Other people who use the water twins, they use Fran, but I like Hua-He. Also not free to play. Wait, is this unit free to play friendly? I don't even know, but I love her. She's absolutely amazing. So you can use Fran, you can use Riley, but Hua-He is great because Hua-He has two skills that boost attack power. I find that she either use these two almost 90% of the time. Sometimes she'll use skill 1. She got messed up once in a while, but it is fine. So this will heal a lot and have attack power buff. And then this will defense break, do massive damage. Okay? She can do some insane damage. I love it. And attack power buff as well. So very amazing unit. Attack with damage attack and have a will set. The sad thing about the right team is that everyone needs to be on will rune, unlike the left team, which you don't really need any will rune. So she'll need a will set and have some damage on her, some random stuff. Doesn't really matter too much. Attack with damage attack, and that's about it. Then we have Ken big damage. So if you have 3 debuff on the enemy, he'll use this 99% of the time, I think. I can't really confirm because I never seen with my own eye that he doesn't use this, but when you have 3 debuff on the enemy target, he'll use this 99% of the time, and this will do some insane damage. And then he will move again. So the good thing about my team is that the 2 water damage dealer will do damage after the jump. So I will reserve a lot of damage after the jump. So the only damage dealer that will attack before the jump is this guy. And because he crit all the time, he'll get another turn to make sure that nobody on my right team will move, which save all the damage for later. And if he attack break, that is fine, much better. My team survive better. If he use this, also good. Or maybe sometimes he will get a turn after the boss jump because I do too much damage to the boss. The boss jump before he can even get that additional turn, which is amazing. So he will absorb the boss attack bar after he jump, which is even better for the consistency of the run. And then I have this girl. So they buff her. This skill will now defense break. So sometimes all the other unit miss defense break. She will defense break, which is awesome. So you might be saying, hey, Sean, use Brandia, more damage. I agree. Brandia does more damage, but Brandia doesn't have defense break in her skill 3. Because after the jump, I cannot guarantee the amount of debuff on the boss anymore. The boss go down, Lauren defense break might miss the debuff. The left team might miss the slow debuff. I don't have branding anymore from this guy. So I cannot guarantee the 3 debuff condition for her to use this all the time. So she has the same AI as Ken. She'll use this if the boss has like 3 debuff, but she'll use it sometimes. So if she uses this, more defense break for the team, more consistent run, amazing. If she doesn't, she'll use this and push back the boss attack bar, put slow debuff on it because that is good. I cannot guarantee the big damage like before the jump. So she's great. And lastly is this guy. I got him recently out of a random summon. I was like, damn, this guy is not Carlos. Carlos got buffed in a recent balance patch. I don't know what to do with him. But I realized he has a attack leader skill for everybody. So he will boost damage of himself, Water Kung Fu Girl, Crow, amazing. They are big damage dealer. And he will still give a decent amount of damage bonus for the fire unit. And this skill is insane because the boss is now having like 1/3 of his HP left. It ignores defense so many times. So it easily does more than 100,000 damage, maybe 150k actually, without any skill up. So insane damage output from this skill. If he refuses to use it, it's fine. He can put glancing or he'll block on the boss to ensure that the boss will be easier to kill if he doesn't use skill 3, but I find that the chance that he'll use this is like about 70%, which is amazing. Big damage when he chooses to use it. So now I have a unit I don't need to skill up. Very easy to build because of the crit rate awakening. Big damage, many debuff, and it's amazing. So that's the entirety of my R5 team. The approach that we're going for in this dungeon will be this guy. So you can buy him from the shop as well. And he is absolutely insane in this dungeon. He has an attack leader skill. You can rune him with attack with damage attack. Any rune you want. You can make him an extra tanky unit so you can put him on the front line. That is totally doable as well. And you want to use a math because math can actually reduce the cooldown of your unit. Has a self-healing skill, so very good for frontline tank. And you can build math with triple defense or HP, defense. Doesn't really matter, okay? Just make sure that math is tanky to stay in the front line and you're good to go. So these two units will be in every single Rift dungeon that you want to use, okay? And for the damage dealer, you have Rauk for anything that is not water, which is pretty much everything. We have Crow for everything. So a Crow can be used in pretty much any one of these dungeons, which is absolutely insane. For the fire one, you might need an AoE attacker. So you might want to build the water homunculus on attack with damage attack, and it will settle the AoE thing for you. And for the last slot, this can be anything. Okay, it can be any water unit that deal damage according to debuff. If you want to reuse the water kung fu girl from the previous R5 team, you can do that as well. If you have a Brandia, you can put a Brandia in too. Brandia will do absolutely insane damage. So this will be the one for the fire team. So you can use Agar and Math everywhere. So Math will allow you to do so much damage because it reduces cooldown. It allows Agar to have attack buff up almost every time. You will always have attack buff when somehow I don't have attack buff right here. The AI of these units, man, it give me, it delete my brain cells, okay? And with the two doggos over there, you can have defense break, you have damage, you have more cooldown reduction. Ega also put 3 debuff, which is unbelievably good for anything that scale with debuff like Crow and Brandia or Shaolin or pretty much anything you want to put in. And this is your run for the fire boss. It is very, very simple. You can also use Water Twin in this slot right here. So I haven't touched my twin in a very, very long time. I know you can use them for guild content. They used to be like the unit that you build for dungeon, but nowadays it's all about Second Awaken unit. So if you build your Crow, if you build your Rauk, you don't have to use the twin. And the twin is also not free-to-play friendly anyway. You need to skill them up with 4-star and you have to summon them in the first place. So if you don't want to build a twin, it is totally fine. I know twin is recommended in many different dungeons, in many different guides, but honestly, a Crow and a Rauk is all you need. And for the last slot, just anything that scale with debuff is going to do the job just fine. So as you can see right here, you don't have to have like 15 million score, anything above. I think 4 or 5 million is more than enough for you. They said they update the content to give you guys more reward according to the score that you have, but I'm not exactly sure about that. So you get this every single run, so you can just do fire until the end of time, and it's actually okay. It might not be the most energy efficient in terms of getting the other element, but I think it's totally fine. So what about water? As you can see, we are seeing the same first 2 units as well. We have Agar and we have Math for the front line, attack buff and cooldown reduction. We have Crow for big daddy damage. We have Argon for the GB12 team that you can also use in this content. You can't use double Crow here. You can now build your Naomi. This is not a must build, but it is a free-to-play unit, so you can build Naomi, and she is one of the easiest units to rune. When you have harmful effect on the boss during the Gorgy stage, she will crit all the time. She is branding, does amazing damage. For the last slot, you can use anything. Preferably, you want something that can bring defense break, right? So you can put in, for example, you can put in a Bernard, you can put in a Fangin, you can put in Momo, you can put in Savannah, you can put in anything. Okay, any win unit that you want to put in, Fuki, anything that can defense break, you can use them here and they're going to do just fine. It doesn't have to be anything in particular. As long as it's a wind or water unit and it can defense break, that's all you need. If we are talking about reusing unit, we can definitely bring back the Shaolin once again. It can defense break, it can do damage according to debuff, and that is just absolutely amazing. The buff to Shaolin skill 3 giving her defense break in the skill 3 is absolutely amazing because it allows her to have more utility, okay? So Xiaolin has defense break in skill 1 and defense break in skill 3 that will allow you to have more consistent damage and consistent defense break. So I think one thing I can do to improve the dungeon team is I can make the map a little bit slow because right now the map is actually moving in front of all the damage dealer and it's trying to reduce cooldown of nobody because they haven't used their skill yet. So you can actually make your map a little bit slower to make the run even better. But I feel like I don't really need to do that. So Xiaolin, absolutely insane damage. Argon, insane damage. Crow, Naomi, they all scale with debuff. Okay? So water dungeon, done. Pretty easy as well. You can get anywhere from 3 to 4 million damage from early game. But if you're early game, I would just do one dungeon, build a good team to do one dungeon and just do that and forget about all the other stuff. So you don't have to build any new unit. Okay? The thing about this dungeon in particular is that each boss has a different mechanic. So you have to build a little bit of something else when you want to challenge the other boss. So you don't have to do that nowadays. Just farm one dungeon that you really like. For example, build a very good team for water so you can craft Determination Rune because Determination requires you to farm water, I think, if I'm not wrong. Let me take a look. So for early game player who want to craft Determination, this one right here, you need water and light. So if you want to be efficient, do I say efficient? Because when you exchange, it's not really efficient. But if you want to focus on building Determination early on, and you also want to farm this for other things like Reappraisal Stone, and you also want to farm this to get the Homunculus, you just need to farm water. And you get the best of all the different world. Okay, where is my defense break team? Hello? Wow. Oh my god. Okay, there's my defense break. See, Xiaolin is very good at doing defense break, guys. You just need to farm water. And you get this for Reap, you get this for Determination, you get this for everything. And you also have to farm light if you want the craft Determination. But I think you can take this exact team that I'm using and put it in the light team. Okay? This exact team right here also work for the light version of this boss. And that is absolutely awesome because you only have to farm those two. I don't think there's any multi-hit here, right? Because, there's multi-hit with Argon and Xiaolin. You know what? This team is not the best team for the light version of this because there are many multi-hit. And the light boss, it doesn't like multi-hit. So when you have multi-hit over there, you will do less damage, which is not the best thing. So now let's take a look at the win one. So this one, you need to have healing. So Hua He that you use in R5 can also be used here. Very solid unit. A star can also be used here, but you don't have to use a star. You can definitely use Argon as well. You can use Hua, you can use Verd, you can use Naomi, you can use anything. Okay, but the same apply. We have Broke for team up and damage. We have Hua He for some big damage. We have Argon for some big damage. And we have Crow for some big damage. Wow. Amazing educational commentary from SeanB. Just use unit that do big damage, slap big damage rune on them, and you will do well. When you're starting out, you might not have a whole lot of runes to build a whole lot of different things. That's why I keep saying that you don't have to build a whole lot of this, right? Just build one team that works for one dungeon, spam that, and you're good to go. But I love doing this one because when you heal, you damage the boss. Somehow, to me, it's just very, very satisfying. Okay, we'll let the defense break. I want to see Hua He big damage. Come on. Like, her damage is not a joke, okay? She does a whole lot of damage. If her skill 3 scale with debuff, that would be even more insane. But it doesn't scale with debuff, so the damage cannot be compared to Argon or Crow, unfortunately. But because she can buff attack all the time, together with Agar, you almost always have attack buff. And she also provides a big fat heal. If you have a Perna, you can replace anyone below with a Perna. Perna will heal every single turn, do big damage, has a better leader skill than Agar, and it's just overall the better unit for this dungeon. So you can always use a 5-star that you really like using and not use the free-to-play unit. In all of these dungeons that I recommend, like a Perna will be way better than Argon. You probably do less damage because Argon does a whole lot of damage in groggy state, but it's going to be safer and better for you if you want to use a Perna. So that is the win dungeon. Oh, new best score. Didn't know that was possible. So now we are moving to the light dungeon. So you can pretty much use the same thing here. Wait, I actually use the same thing. I just take out Xiaolin and put in Naomi for some big damage. So you know exactly what's going to happen, right? I don't have to show you everything once again. So I've also shown the runes for all these units in other part of the dungeon team. So I'm just going to reuse the same thing over here. If you have any strong dark damage dealer like Carl, how do I say that guy's name? The Nailstone Fighter, the Dark Nailstone Fighter. I think he was All of Heroes a while back. It's not exactly very updated. Like these units, you can always get them. The thing about making guide videos is that I need to make sure that if you're watching this in 2023 and you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, you can still get these units and not some Hope Heroes from 2019. And that is not very applicable. So any dark damage dealer you have, because you might have a dark damage dealer and not Crow because you are already using Crow. If you have any other dark damage dealer that you want to use in this dungeon, like you can use Miho, you can use this guy, he does some insane damage. This guy is insane as well. And you might want to use Faye too for some ignore defense. Who knows? Might be your thing. Or you can use this. Any dark damage dealer you want to use, it's going to be applicable. And it's going to do a way better job at doing damage that will break the shield compared to Naomi. Because Naomi doesn't crit very often when there's no debuff on the boss. So not exactly the best option over there. But any dark thing is going to do the job just fine. Okay? Every single one of these dungeons is all about doing the most damage possible. So damage, damage, damage. Let's take a look at the dark one as well. The dark one requires you to have multi-hit. So it's going to be a little bit more complicated. So, wow, it's going to be the same thing. We have a star for multi-hit. We have Argon for multi-hit. And I think you don't... I'm debating a little bit about this, but because the run doesn't really fail and I don't really care too much about it anymore. But you don't put Argon in the front. I think you put one of the dark in the front because without attack buff, it might be a little bit too slow, but I think it's fine too. I think you can put Shaman somewhere in there as well. Maybe put Shaman in the front. Like you don't need to use math, but you can use any twin in this and it's gonna be really, really good too. Okay. But because I don't use twin anywhere in PvE, so I don't feel like building them just for this. And all the things that we have built before are good for this already. So I don't really have to care too much about building another set of twin just for this particular dungeon because this is totally fine. I think you can put in an Ikaru for more team up, for more revenge, for more multi-hit. Team up is really, really good and just have some multi-hit like Argon, like Agar, like a star. And you will do just fine. I think this part where you have to kill him when he take one of your unit is the hardest part. So maybe you don't need a math here. Math is there for damage during Groggy because you want lower cooldown on Crow and Argon skill 3. That's why math is there. You don't actually need to have math there. You can actually have another multi-hitter like Zhongfei or Fangyan in the front that can tank and multi-hit and defense break and heal. That will be safer, but it's just less damage overall. So having a Panda Warrior in the front is going to be absolutely amazing. Now let's take a look at dimensional hole farming. I only farm one dungeon because it is really hard to get a good ancient rune and it is way harder to grind that ancient rune. So because you have limited energy every single week, I only farm one dungeon to make the best use out of my energy and to actually grind the runes properly. I have a Savannah here, as you might see, but you don't need to worry too much about Savannah. You can actually use a Bernard and it's gonna be just fine. So we have Orochi for the main damage. Orochi very, very good, but you don't have to use Orochi as well. You can use a Yin, you can use many other wind damage dealer. Orochi is just there to do damage. If you have any other 5-star damage dealer you want to use, like Ethna, like Changpeng, Savannah, like Sonia, like any other thing, Wind Monkey King, it's gonna be okay. But Orochi is absolutely amazing for this particular dungeon. So you don't have to run Savannah. You can definitely use Bernard. They kind of do similar things. Savannah just a little bit better. You're going to use Riley for PvP, so you need to build this unit. Speed HP doesn't have to be on will. Any vile Riley that you build for PvP is going to be good enough. We have Royd that you're going to use in PvP as well. A very, very good unit for Siege. You have to have this unit, okay? Don't tell me you will not build this guy. It's really, really good. So, speed, HP for him. Nothing crazy. His dare to defense break. And that's pretty much it. And Bernard, this is way too fast for anyone that Google a guide, okay? If you're Googling a guide, your Bernard will have 40 less speed than this. But the speed of Bernard doesn't make a huge difference here. The things about Bernard is the kit that it brings. So it provides speed so that you move more often, and it provides defense break so that you do damage more consistently. Because sometimes Roy defense break can actually miss as well. And Bernard, you can build Bernard on a crit damage build. If you don't use Bernard to compete in any arena content, you're only building Bernard for PvE. You can build a Bernard like how you build Orochi. You can build speed, good damage attack on Bernard, and Bernard will hit as hard as a Savannah, as a Orochi. Not really, but you know what I'm talking about. It hit really hard, okay? Bernard scale with speed, so the damage Bernard can do is absolutely amazing. So you want to build a damage Bernard, it is totally okay. Like, look at that. Bernard did 20k on that thing. And it's going to do a whole lot of damage on the boss too, and my Bernard is not even on a crit damage build. So, a simple, swift Bernard, if you can put Bernard on crit damage, please do so. If you have Savannah, just put Savannah in, okay? Don't have to do Bernard. If you have Savannah, you have a Wind Chimera. If you have any other fancy wind damage dealer, you can also use them. But it's just that Orochi is really good with the damage. It's so easy to build, and the dot damage allow you to kill the boss sometimes really, really fast. And it's absolutely awesome because sometimes you do a whole lot of damage, but it's not enough. But the dot damage is gonna be enough for you. Bernard, oh, we didn't do the damage right there. But Orochi is definitely gonna just say goodbye to this guy. And that is my Ellunia team. I've been using this for the longest time. It is not super fast, but it is super safe. And it's fast enough. It's like a minute run, but because you don't have maximum, well, you don't have a way to buy more of this energy. So just choose a day of the week to clear it, and you're good to go. Oh my God, Bernard is like 1 minute 40 seconds. Savannah is like super fast. Bernard is a bit slower, guys. Just a little bit slower. Let's take a quick look at my ToA team, okay? So for normal ToA, it doesn't really matter. I just use this. It clear all the way. I don't really care too much about normal ToA. I feel we passed that point, right? We're past that point where we need guide ToA hard. There's gonna be that one stage in ToA hard that you will need help with. Probably, was it this one? So this one, right? So you are using whatever AoE thing you are using. You just have to slap in a dark unit to tank this, and you're good to go. So replace this. You're using Tyrone probably for free to play stuff, and just build a dark tank. And that's it. So like just have some HP, Jolton, take the hit from the Chroma, and you're good to go. I don't know what else to say. For ToA Hell, so I recently did 20 star for this ToA Hell. Haven't done that in a long time. There's really no need to go above and beyond because you get 50 crystal. Like, what a joke. Imagine trying your hardest to beat one of the hardest content in the game and you get 50 crystal. Like, what the hell? So this is the team that I use for autoing for the most part. It is the team that based on Boverk and the Light String Master. So this is probably the most pay to win thing or the most unachievable thing for most people because Bover is a 5-star. Strong Buffer are usually 5-star unit as well. And the Light String Master was a whole heroes unit that you probably not gain any access to in the future. So for ToA Hell, you can go back to my old guide that I used to build. I used to build different things for each different stage to get 3-star. It took a lot of effort that I just can't bother to do it again. So I've been using this. Bover will do a lot of damage to the Trash Wave. The Song Soul, I think that's her name. The Light String Master will do a lot of damage to the stage and the boss itself. And you just auto. If you can't auto with this team, I will probably bring in the team that you saw earlier that has Spectra and Shaman. But I didn't have to do it this time around. Mostly Shaman, okay? Mostly, if you have a stage that need you to cleanse the debuff like Silence and Counter Attack, I just replace my Vigor with like a Veramos, and you just cleanse the debuff before the turn start, and you do the whole thing once again. Nothing too fancy. If I want to clear the stage quickly, Okay, if I really in the mood to clear the stage manually, like this one, I will turn to something like this that has Shaman that will be built differently. So I have to build them all violent. They all need to be faster than 260 speed. And that'll be a whole different story. But this is like a whole another level of just not worth it kind of thing. So that is all my farming team, I think, for right now. I mostly just clear my Ellunia farming, and then I do daily farming with one of the rune dungeon or the artifact dungeon, and that is all I do. If you have any question, let me know in the comment section down below. I hope this video was helpful to you. I know it's really long, but there'll be timestamp down below for you guys as well. If you enjoyed it, let me know in the comment section, and hit the like button, and can't even say it properly, and hit the like button. I've been speaking for 1 hour straight. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys in the next one. Bye bye.